Welcome to the first artist workshop for Marin Open Studios 2026. My name is Karon Shahrastani. I am the social media and email marketing and video marketing person for Marin Open Studios. Been with them since 2018. I'm very excited for tonight's workshop because we're going to be covering how to register for the 2026 season, how to optimize your profile on the Marin Open Studios website for searchability. We'll also be covering a little bit of the details around the newer process of uploading your images for the tour guide because we used to have a different way of doing it. Now we have a newer way of doing it that's a little more streamlined. So I'm going to share my screen and we'll get this party started. So the first thing we want to cover is kind of the more basic stuff, which is registering. I would like to think everybody who's on the call today has already registered, but if you haven't yet, this will be a good little refresher. When you're on the Marin Open Studios website, there are a couple of different ways that you can navigate to the registration pages. One of them is this bright red button at the top of the screen that says For Artists. This looks entirely different on mobile. And whether you consider yourself a tech-savvy artist or not, I recommend registering from a computer if you can. And in terms of what we're going to talk about for updating your profile on the Marin Open Studios website, adding images of your art and updating your information, I do recommend doing those from a computer as well. But it is possible to do it from your phone. It's just a slightly different layout when you do it that way. So I'm going to click this red For Artists button, and I'm not currently logged in. So this is how it should look to anybody who's interested to register. You'll see here on the left side, once we're on the artist page, there is a menu. And underneath these first three little red links, you'll see one that says register for returning artists and register for new artists, how to register and update your profile. I am a returning artist, so I'm going to click the first one. But if anybody on the call today was not a 2025 artist, you would click that second one. So for your Marin Open Studios 2026 registration, our registration has been open since November 1st. Our newer deadline to make sure that you are secured a spot in the tour guide and that you can be considered as artwork for the cover of the tour guide, the deadline is January 31st. Today's workshop's on the 19th, so you got 12 days to lock it in. But I'd say do it sooner rather than later so you don't somehow forget, because you don't want to miss out on that opportunity. The tour guide is highly distributed. It's a high quality printed tour guide. And why wouldn't you want to be considered to be the cover art for that beautiful piece of marketing material? So you can see here for our options, option number one is general registration, including tour guide inclusion, price $335. That is with the understanding that you will be signing up for a volunteer shift at some point during your year as a Marin Open Studios artist. That could be at Sausalito Center for the Arts when we have our preview gallery. It could be during our pop-up exhibits, like some of the ones we had at Marin Art and Garden this past year. But you are going into this registration committing to us, committing to yourself that you're going to be putting in a few hours at some point to help us to host our galleries and in-person shows. If you want to do the buyout, meaning no thanks, don't want to help, would prefer not to volunteer, you can click on the general registration with $60 volunteer buyout. So that means you're paying $60 to not have that obligation to volunteer, and that's fine. Once you get past January 31st, and Kina, correct me if I'm wrong, that's late registration, considered late registration? Yes.
Yes.
So
We've just to summarize that, we've shifted the terminology from early bird and regular to regular and late, because the truth is for meeting the Marin Magazine printing deadlines, January 31st is on time. And I just wanted to change the language to make that clear. We are on time to be put in the tour guide to be printed on time with no giant crunch on anybody's end, so that we can get that done well, and to be considered for the cover of the tour guide. That's also the right timing, and to be considered. Our graphic designer is going to pick out about 12 artists' images for inclusion in lots of our other printed and digital marketing materials. So it's for consideration for that group of images as well. So
Very
it's a good
cool.
opportunity, if you can make it what is now on time rather than early bird. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. So if you register after January 31st, let's say February 1st, it's going to jump from 335 to 385 with you still committing to doing the volunteer hours. And if you register after January 31st and you want to do the buyout, then it's 445. If I were to choose the first option, I'm going to volunteer and I'm going to sign up before the 31st. I would hit the select button to the right of that top option. And then you can see here that you have your login information, meaning you are a returning artist, so you should already have account information, but that's where you would click login here. If you are a newer artist and you don't have a profile with us already, then you would be filling out this information with a password and confirm password with an email and confirm email. So please make sure if you haven't registered yet and you're a returning artist, instead of filling out this first block up here, just click on the login here, and that will help to auto-populate the other information here, like billing address. Then when you get to your payment information, this is a credit card processor. So we don't have other options currently for you to make your payment. It has to be a credit or debit card with your expiration date and your security code, that little usually three or four digit code on the back of your card. And then you would hit submit and check out. When you hit submit and check out, you'll get a screen that says, thanks for registering. But the most important thing I have to point out is that once you've registered, you will get an email receipt confirming that you have registered. And then at that point, you will have the option to click a Google form from that receipt email to submit your art for the tour guide. And so I know it's a little different than how we've done it in the past, but the main takeaway here is that whether you're a returning artist, whether you're a new artist, how you submit your artwork for the tour guide is through a Google form in the receipt email that you get after you've completed your payment here on the website. I did reach out to Lisa Knoop, who is our graphic designer for the tour guide, and asked her about the specifications for that tour guide image. She said all artist images will be formatted to fit a square. So they should either crop their artwork to a square or it will be cropped for them. So we have had in the past tour guide, formatting where you could still have a horizontal landscape or vertical rectangle, but really the preference in terms of the graphic design of the tour guide is to make it square. I know that in some cases, some of you don't paint or create art on square canvases or panels, but that helps to make the design of the tour guide much more pleasing to the eye, easier to navigate, and where you don't have to worry about your image being small. In the past, we've had some artists complain that when they submit a rectangular artwork, that it doesn't actually take up as much space because it's got white space around it. So when you submit a square cropped image, it allows you to get the most size, most bang for your buck when it comes to your listing. The image should be JPEG, JPEG, so not a PNG, not an HVEC. There's a bunch of other photo formats you could be using out there. JPEG is the preferred one. It's also the best for color images or artwork. 300 DPI just means higher quality, per inch, meaning that it doesn't come up fuzzy or pixelated. The file should be no longer than 10 megabytes. And so if some of you use professional photographers to take pictures of your art, you're not just taking pictures with your phone, it is possible that the images that you get from a professional photographer would be 10 megabytes or larger. So you just want to make sure when you're on your computer that you're looking at the size of that image before you submit it on the Google form. The image needs to be CMYK. This is fancy code for basically like the color spectrum that's used for the image. And the label of your photo, of your artwork, should be formatted last name, first name, art title, and then .jpeg because it's a JPEG format. So if my name is Karon Sharastani and my artwork is called Blue Moon, then it would be Sharastani underscore Karon underscore Blue Moon .jpeg. If anybody has any questions about how to label a photo in your computer or resize an image that's larger than 10 megabytes, pop that question into the chat. And like I said, we'll cover that during the Q&A session at the end. So the registration for artists is pretty similar for new artists. It's just that the page that you click on here from the little menu is also going to have instructions on how to update your profile, which is the other thing that we're talking about today. So it gives you a little screenshot here of what your artist profile looks like. And so it has the instructions register and then update your profile, manage your artwork, add your events. And then aside from that, if we were to hit register here, it'll be the same fields that you would have to fill out, your name, your email, your billing address, and your payment information. So this page does have again, the screenshots helping you to kind of navigate the different parts of the website, the menus, updating your profile, putting your studio on the map, and the additional features. But I'm about to go through these live with you. I just want you to be able to see that that is here in the artist page when you hit new artist, how to register and update your profile. So if I log in, and I am not Anne Marie today, Anne Marie de Rivera is an artist with Marin Open Studios. She's also a client of mine. All right, so once you log in, you'll see your picture and your name in the upper right corner. If for some reason you forget your password, it'll tell you in that square that we were just on, that's incorrect. And then you might want to reset your password, which means you confirm what email, it'll send you an email from the website. You click that to come back to the website and you can create a new password. Sometimes password management can be a little tricky, can be a little bit much, but I'm always of the belief that if you are periodically resetting your passwords, even if it's because you forget what it is or you wrote it down somewhere and you can't find it, that just really helps with the security of your presence on any service or website. You should kind of be resetting your passwords, at least once a year to make sure that, you don't have any of your accounts compromised. Just a little tech advice there. So once I'm logged in, I hover over my name and you'll see a menu over here on the right-hand side. There's Edit Artist Profile, Update Your Profile Image, Update Banner Image, Add and Edit Artwork, Add and Edit Events, View Shared Space Groups if you are interested in sharing a space with other artists during Open Studios, and then Update Password, like you're already logged in, but maybe you want to change your password, and the Logout button. So if we click Edit Artist Profile, so the very first section that comes up when you click Edit Artist Profile is your artist statement. It can be any length that you'd like it to be, and you can also play around with bold, italic, underline, different formatting. And then your biography, so that's going to be potentially a little bit different than the statement. The statement should be in the first person. The biography can still be in the first person or it could be in the third person. She is or he is an artist. Below that, you have art mediums, or media, right? Wouldn't that be grammatically correct? So this is where if you are an artist who dabbles in a lot of things and for the, you know, goal of searchability, of showing up more in search on the website, don't be afraid to click as many of these boxes as makes sense as far as the samples of work or images of the work that you're going to be showing on your profile. I only work in acrylic paint. And aside from that, I do some photography. I don't dabble in anything else. But if you also do oil or you also do printmaking, whatever it may be, feel free to click those boxes. And then this is group studio details, not just for open studios in May, but throughout the year. If you're part of a group exhibition or a show that runs outside of the open studios weekends, you can type up and put in information about that here. And then any changes you make, you hit Save Changes. After About the Artist, then you can click here on the little left menu to Studio Information. And full disclosure, live in San Jose. So I don't typically participate in the Open Studios, map because people aren't going to come all the way down here from Marin. But I do have my tour guide listing as by appointment only. Most of my commissions come through email or phone anyway. This one shows Corte Madera Town Center, because at one point I was being considered for the group exhibit that we've done at Town Center the last couple of years. So that's why that's in there. But you can absolutely come in here and put your own home studio if it's a place that people can visit outside of the Open Studios weekends, or if you're in a building, an artist building like ICB or MoCA, this is where you would put that information. Um, since the COVID days, there is a COVID precautions moment here. So if you wanted to, you could say mask required or proof of vaccination required. But for the most part, most artists now, 2026, would probably put none. Save changes. Your contact information, some artists debate on whether or not to put complete contact information just for the sake of spammers reaching out to you and pretending like they want to buy their art from you, and then, trying to get you into some sort of scam around Venmo or Zelle or digital checks. So it's up to you. It's your personal choice on how complete you want to make this information, but contact email address is highly recommended. Um, I have a phone number on here. It's technically a Google phone number. If anybody on the workshop today wants to know how to set up a Google phone number, it kind of sets up a different level of security. It's not exactly your phone number like your smartphone number. And then if you have your own website, you can put that here, and it must include the HTTPS:/2 in order for that to be clickable from your profile. I recommend phone number and email, but it's totally up to you. Exhibitions and press. If you have had any articles written about you, we've got a little publications section here. If you're in, again, exhibitions or past group exhibitions, you can put those here. And if you've gotten any awards, publications and press, I see a little bit of overlap between these two, but it's basically your chance to show social proof as an artist, or if you've had any sort of recognition for your art. Education. I'm a self-taught artist, so you won't see me putting down any, graduation dates or diplomas or degrees for anything related to art on my profile. But if you do have an art education, anything that's relevant to your time as an artist, you've got two different description boxes here. And then again, always save changes. So that's this little menu here on the left, these little red words. You'll also notice there's a button menu above that in gray. The first one is home, and that's going to take you to the home page of the website, the front page of the website. The second one is to view your profile to see what it looks like. This one is social networks. If you wanted to include your Instagram, there's a field for that. Profile avatar, which is kind of what goes in this little circle right here. Profile cover or banner, and then the logout button. We can also, as you recall, navigate the different parts of the website on this menu that I showed you here in the beginning. So after we've gone now through the edit artist profile list, we can hit update profile image. And ideally, it should be a photo of you, not necessarily a photo of your art, because you're going to have there's a whole section on the website where you can have a gallery of images of your art. So the profile picture, it's best to have a picture of yourself. You would select the file from your computer if you'd like, or you can drag and drop an image from your desktop or another folder on your computer and put that here in this box. I have one of me holding a camera because, like I said, I do photography in addition to painting. And then this also has an option to take a photo if you have a camera on your computer or on your phone. Then if we go to update banner image in the menu on the right, so this is going to be the rectangular image that goes behind the picture of your head. Again, you can drag and drop it or select a file. I recommend either using one image of your art as your background image, or you can do a collage, which we've talked about in past workshops, which you can create on platforms like Canva, unless you have access to programs like Photoshop or Illustrator. But Canva is a pretty easy one to just pull a bunch of images of your art in and create a collage. If we look at my profile, the profile image of myself holding my camera, and then you'll see this collage that I did of different images. How this appears will change depending on the size of the device. Like if they're looking at it on a phone, it's going to look a little different. It's going to crop a little different. But I would say just accept the fact that whatever you put on here, this very skinny rectangle that you're seeing, it's going to crop something. So that's part of why I like doing a collage is instead of seeing like a skinny strip of one piece, people can kind of get an idea of the variety of what I do because I do human portraits, I do pet portraits. Then you've got the add or edit artwork button here on the right. So when we clicked on that, it took us back to my profile, but I'm going to click here on artwork, which is what someone who's browsing the website would find. And then you can see this little menu, browse artwork or add your artwork or manage your artwork. So at this point, you can see that the kind of thumbnails for these images are square, and you can see a little bit of cropping happening here. But that is just to give you an idea of how it appears when people are browsing your images. So if I click add your artwork, for you to just be clear, when you add artwork to your Marin Open Studios gallery, it will appear in the top left corner of the gallery and then go chronologically from there. So if you end up having one image that you want to appear in that prominent kind of first top left section of your gallery, you would upload that one last if you're uploading a series of artworks. So you want to make sure that your name and your email will be auto-populated, but that you have a title for your artwork. So I'm just going to say art. And then this is where we get into searchability. This is one of the relatively newer functions of the Marin Open Studios website is that you can choose categories for your artwork uploads that will help people search for them when they're on the website. So you can choose, do you think that this artwork would be good for the bedroom, entertainment, garden, grand entry, kitchen, living room, office? If you do 2D, um, digital drawings, mixed media, paint acrylic, paint oil, pastel, and then 3D, ceramics, clothing, fiber, furniture, jewelry, pottery, wood. It also has color themes, black and white, blue and purple, brown and earth tones, multicolor, red and orange. Local imagery, Bay Area locals, so beach and coastal, desert, Marin and West Marin, San Francisco, Sonoma, Tahoe. And then you can do a price and size range, $1 to 500, all the way up to 5,000 up or on commission. So I tend to put on commission on mine because any of the artwork you see on my Marin Open Studios gallery are past commission pieces. They're not pieces that are currently for sale. And then you can see size, extra small, small, large, grand entry. So if somebody comes on the Marin Open Studios site and they want a really big piece of art, they're going to look probably at large room or grand entry. If someone's looking for just a little 12 by 12 or a 6 by 6, they're going to hit extra small. There's the Sausalito category, and then there's style, abstract, botanical, contemporary, fantasy, folk art, modern, realism, and subjects, animals and pets, figures, florals, landscapes, portraits, waterscapes, etc. So you would browse files and or drop files here. You would add a description for your art. So that's again where you can do like 6 by 6 inch, for instance. You can put a price if it's for sale, and you can put a location as far as where it might be currently hanging or where people can see it, like if it's in a gallery, for instance. And then when you upload the image, you hit preview, and it shows you what it's going to look like before you actually put it onto the website. There are, again, some limitations here, and I know they're not shown on this page, but it's best to do JPEG. It's best to not do more than like 10 megabytes, or I think actually for the website, it's like 5 megabytes. Because when people are looking at your art, they're never actually going to be able to see the artwork like full screen from the left to the right. There's already always going to be like a little website frame around it. So there's really no point in you trying to upload like the maximum size or quality of the artwork for the website. But you can, as I recall, upload an unlimited number of artworks. Just remember that first thing that I said in the beginning. Whatever the last artwork is that you uploaded, that's going to be the one that's featured here in the top left corner, the very first thing they see when they come to your website or come to your page, come to your gallery. So if I were to click this, because I want to expand it and see the details about it, again, this is what I'm saying. Even when I click it, it's not necessarily going, all the way to the left and the right. I can go up and down and look at it, but you definitely don't need a 10 megabyte image for this purpose.
Right. And can I chime in right there
Sure.
to Caron that I have thought a lot about this question this year and have gotten input from really seasoned artists that it's better maybe to put a lower quality image there, even for image protection, so that if somebody wanted to blow it up, it would be blurry.
Thank you, Kina. Here's the description here at the bottom. So I'm telling you that this was a custom portrait for a client, and that if people are interested in commissioning, they can contact me for inquiries. All right, so that is uploading your artwork. If we go back one step, there's also a button that says Manage Your Artwork. And that's where you can see all of the artwork that you've uploaded and in kind of a bulk fashion decide if you want to edit anything about it, like maybe it was for sale and now it's sold. If you want to delete it, like just remove it entirely. And it just helps you kind of get an idea of what you have on here and whether or not, you want to make any adjustments as far as curating what's available on your gallery. So once we go back to this menu up here, there's an Add and Edit Events button. And when we click that, similar to the gallery one, My Events, My Locations, Add Event is the button that you would want to click to add events. So maybe you have a temporary show or a gallery is going to be showing for a specific period of time. Add New, this button right here, will allow you to include the details, event name, end date, start date, end date, times, location. And if I were to put in an address here, then that would generate a map location. So if we are, let's just say it's ICB and it's 480 Gate 5 Road, Sausalito. So you can see now a Google map comes up here on the right, showing people where it is. And if they are on a mobile device, for instance, they can click this and it should allow them to navigate to that location. So this is great if you, again, have stuff in a gallery, at a coffee shop, in a show, whatever that may be. And then the details, typing out like, what is the show? Is there a theme to it? Does it benefit anything in terms of like maybe nonprofit? You can choose a category, art studio event, art workshop, week one event, week two event. So maybe you have events outside of the Sausalito Center for the Arts Preview Gallery. And then you can choose an image for it. So if it is at a coffee shop, maybe it's the front of the coffee shop, or maybe you're just one piece of art in a whole bunch of artists' works and you just want to upload the image of your artwork that's going to be showing at that event. And then I consent to my submitted data being collected and stored and outlined by the site. This is just to help, people's navigation of these events. So you would click that and then you would submit the event. We go back to our menu. So the last one here, because we're not updating our password today and we're not going to log out just yet, is view shared space groups. And each year, Marin Open Studios does try to provide opportunities for artists to appear in group shows and exhibits. So you can see Bay Model as an example, Marin Art and Garden, Of course, there are the established ones like Artworks Downtown, Isabel Cook Center, where, people are in there year round, not just on the weekends of Marin Open Studios. But this is where if someone was navigating the site, they could kind of get a quick idea of what some of the group exhibits are, be able to navigate to those. So let's just say that we were interested in Creatives by the Bay. We click that one. So this shows you the artists that participated or are participating in Creatives by the Bay, and then you can navigate to each of their profiles by clicking their name and looking at their artwork. Okay, so let me just take a beat because I feel like I've been talking nonstop since I got on here today and look at some of the questions we have in our chat. Keith Wilson says, "This is my first year in 10 years. Welcome back, Keith. My location does not show up on the Google map, and I do not appear in the artist listings." So, Keith, we are, and I'm just going to stop the share for a second so I can see all your beautiful faces. Your first year in 10 years, I'm sure a lot has changed in terms of the website and how things have navigated since then. But you have already signed up for 2026?
Yeah. No,
Excellent.
I'm all set.
And you've put your information, you've updated your profile already?
Right.
Okay. And you're not seeing yourself when you search for yourself
Yeah, when
on
I
the
look in,
website?
I don't see the location marked on the Google map.
Got it. Okay.
I'm over near ICB, but it doesn't show up.
Okay. We can take a look at that.
And I guess while Caron's looking at that specific, I'll say occasionally, our website does things, that we don't want it to do. And we really appreciate if you reach out to us, info@marinopenstudios.org. Melissa will either be able to answer it, fix it, work with Rooster Grin, which is our webmaster, service provider, to fix it. So any glitches you see, please tell us as soon as you see them, and we'll fix them. It's a WordPress site. It's got a lot of things installed on it that make it kind of hard to work with, and it kind of, it does a lot. It's a massive website that does a lot, and it's just occasionally it has a blip, and we have to fix it, and we can fix it fast as soon as we're told. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. Keith, I just did a check, so I'm going to share my screen again just to show you what I saw. But when I went to just the homepage here and I typed in Keith Wilson and I click on your name, your profile does come up. So it is among the artist listings. And when I click on location right here, it does show a Google Map. And we
Oh,
can,
okay, because it doesn't show up on my when I look at it.
on
Okay.
your computer,
And can you blow up a little bit to see if it's exactly,
ICB.
yeah. Oh, I'm not at ICB. I'm across the street from it.
Oh, got it. Boop, 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 boop. Let's see here. Yep, so that's ICB right there. And
That looks pretty
you,
accurate. Yes.
yeah. It's
Okay.
it looks like you're at FedEx.
I'm in the back of it. I'm in a,
Okay, perfect. So that works. All right.
yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Of course.
And one last question. I know you're busy, but when I can't find out where you put in an applic or put in a submit something for the cover
For
potential for the
for the
cover.
tour guide.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no separate submission. It's going to be all the registered artists as of February 1st. Our designer goes through a process with our board and a group of people to select that, and it'll be chosen from the artwork image that you've uploaded for the tour guide and other work that might be on your artist profile. So she
So
So if you're chosen for the cover, then you resubmit it as a higher resolution image.
Yes, yes,
Lisa
we'll
would
reach
ask
out to
you.
you. Yeah,
Yes.
Oh, okay. That was
you
the
would be
Yes.
question.
you would be contacted to ask if you want to do that,
Yes.
and then yes, we would get all the versions that we need of it because there'll be a few.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Great.
congratulations, Keith. Please send us a higher resolution image. Yes, though you'll get some sort of communication from our graphic designer to in the exact specifications that she needs, because obviously the cover image is going to need to be a higher quality for sure.
Thank you. It answers the questions.
No problem. Cindy Miracle says, do photos we want to upload need to be a certain size or type? So Cindy, like we covered before, JPEG, and for the tour guide, no larger than 10 megabytes, preferably 300 DPI. And for your profile, your gallery here on the website, I think it's better to keep it under 5 megabytes because it's going to be something that, as Keena was talking earlier, it actually helps the website to load faster if we don't have these gigantic images. Monica says, I've uploaded an image for the guide and I may want to change it prior to the deadline. Is that possible? So, Monica, I think that should be possible. I would just go ahead and submit it through the same Google form, but then also email info@Marin Open Studios and let them know, let our team know, I have submitted a different image that I would like for the tour guide. And just make sure that you put that on our radar because like Keena was saying, part of the January 31st deadline is to make sure that our graphic designer has enough time to lay out this whole thing. And if she's already laid out the page with your image on it, we just want to make sure that that's the image that you want, that it's updated to the image that you want. So I would say that's right, Keena? Like ideally, you just submit the one, but if you change your mind, just make sure you do it before the 31st.
Okay,
Right.
I have a
Change your mind
question. I have
before
a,
the 31st. Please let Melissa know right
Yes,
away that you need to do a new form and follow her instruction on how to do that. Maybe don't do two forms because that could be confusing.
got it.
So just let her know you have an image change and she'll work with you to do that.
Right.
okay,
And
good.
and you reach Melissa through info@marinopenstudios.org.
Yes, and I have one or two other questions. When I listened to what you said earlier about the identification of the file, according to the Google form, it says first name, then followed by last name, as opposed to the inverse of that.
Oh,
And that's what it said on the form
well,
when you look at the upload tour
sure.
guide.
Do what the
And
form says.
yeah, okay,
And
great. I did.
because I don't want to do conflicting information.
No, I did. I just wanted to
Yeah,
bring that to your attention. And then
thank you.
also I got a an email here that says thank you for doing the uploading and so forth. And then it says at the top total points is 0/0. And I don't know what that means. It says the total points of my entry. And it says don't fill this out until you've gotten everything secured and that you know what you want to say. And I don't see anything really that gives me a solid sense that confirmation that everything's copacetic.
If you get that email that says thank you for registering, we have everything we need. But then you want to fill out the Google form as I think you've said you've already
Yes, I
done.
did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So that
Yeah.
should be fine. And we will follow up with any artist individually if we don't have complete information or if you're missing something. We just want to make sure that everybody has submitted by the 31st so that we can start laying it
Yeah.
out.
Because and at the top of the form, the Google form, it just says points for your file, total points, blah blah blah, and it says 0/0. So I
Which
know
is
it's
100%. So
0/0 is 100% as opposed to 1/0.
as opposed to 0 out of 1 or 0 out of 10. I'm just making a joke, Monica. I'm not
Oh
exactly
well,
sure what the 0 out of 0 refers to, but as long as you have completed all of the, lines in the
right,
form,
right. It just
you
didn't.
should be good to go.
Okay, because that didn't seem clear to me.
Yeah,
Okay.
no worries. Antonia says, if I want to check and see if my registration is complete, where do I go to make sure you have all of my photos? So, Antonia, just to be
You've
clear,
answered that for me.
oh, perfect.
It's the Google form.
Yes, the Google
Um,
form. And it
but
should
I
just
did
be
send a
one image for
yeah,
the
and I
tour
did
guide.
send a message further down because when I go onto the Google form and I upload my image,
Mhm.
even though I've named my image with my name and the title, it's showing as a number JPEG. But if I press that and open it, it then takes me to an image with the right title. So I'm
Okay.
just not sure if that's how it's
Yeah,
meant to
I
be.
wouldn't overthink that as long as you know that you named the image with your
Okay,
name and your art title, it should be fine.
perfect. Cool, thank you.
Of course. Thanks so much. Monica asks, is only one image considered for marketing PR? Does your team at MOS look at other work from your site? Keena answered that we do look at other work from the site, but we'll follow up with you for a higher resolution if we need it. Oh, Keena did answer that. Can I change my tour guide image? So Jen's, we did just refer to that. If you did want to change your tour guide image after already submitting the form, please email info@marinopenstudios.org and let Melissa know, and she'll walk you through whether or not we want you to fill out the form again or submit it in a different way.
I got it. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Monica, you said, I want to use an alternate email in the form versus Gmail. I registered but don't see an email confirmation. So, Monica, you didn't get an email telling you that you had completed it?
Yeah, it gives you the option to use a different email when I
Uh-huh.
do fill out the Google form. So I wanted to use my business regular email, not
Sure.
the Gmail. And I populate the opportunity and then it doesn't seem to click or, respond to that. And I don't see anything coming in on the email I choose to use. Um,
Yeah, I
uh,
mean, generally speaking, I find on Google Forms it performs better if you just use your Gmail. I understand your preference to want to use your business email, but if you have a Google account with a Gmail email address, that tends to make Google Forms happier. And we know who you are. You're the only Monica Loncola in our
yeah.
artist registry. So, and it's not like you submitting that Google form with a Gmail means that that Gmail email address is going to appear anywhere or be
No,
used
that's fine.
for
I just wanted
communication
to know
marketing.
whether I have to keep looking at the different, I've got 4 different emails. So I was just
Sure.
wondering, I wanted to condense things.
Sure, sure.
So,
And again, to anybody on the call or anybody watching the recording, if you submit your Google form and you're like, I never got a confirmation or I'm not sure if that went through, email
right.
info@marinopenstudios.org
Okay.
and Melissa can very quickly verify for you whether or not she has everything she needs from you and if the form was filled out correctly.
Great. And then one other question I just
Sure.
had was, can you rearrange the sequence once you upload the work? And I know that you addressed the issue of the first ish image will be the last one that you upload on the top left. But what about the rest of them? Once you see that they're up there, what if you want to rearrange those? Can they be rearranged, or do you just have to do that ahead of time and be?
That is a feature request artists have been asking for a couple years, and unfortunately, we don't have that capability yet.
Okay. All
So
right.
if you
Thanks.
decide that you want to upload new art and then all of a sudden you realize that you want it to be in a specific order, let's say you do different kinds of art and you
Right.
want landscape, landscape, portrait, portrait, abstract, abstract, and
Yeah.
you realize they're not in that order, you would delete what's
Right.
up there and
Got it.
re-upload it in that order.
Okay. Great. Thanks.
Melissa says, is the last image also the one that will go into the catalog? So Melissa, that's how we used to do the tour guide submissions, was that the top left image on your website profile was the one that we would be selecting and using for the tour guide. That is no longer the case. So in order to have your artwork in the tour guide, in addition to paying and registering by the 31st, you need to complete that Google form and submit the artwork you want in the tour guide in that Google form. We may look at the other artwork on your profile to consider it for marketing materials, as Kina said, but for your tour guide submission, it has to be through the Google form. It's no longer based on the artwork that's on your gallery. Oh, yeah, questions? Sure. Okay, Keith, you want to go?
Yes, you just said that the the image that will be selected for the tour guide will be the first one on our list or the
No, no, no,
last.
no, 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 no. That was how we used to do tour guide submissions, was it was based on what was on your artist profile. The artwork you put in the Google form is the one that will be considered for the tour guide cover. But we will be, the board and our team will potentially look at your other artwork on your profile to consider for other marketing materials. But the
Okay.
one that goes in the tour guide, the printed tour guide and the digital tour guide, and the one
If
that
I
is
filled
considered,
out, you saw what I filled out so far. Was that on the Google form?
um, so the Google
How
form
did I
is,
enter that information?
so the Google form is where you have a link to the Google form when you get your receipt from Marin Open
Right.
Studios, right? So that's where you would submit on that Google form, and it's that image that'll be considered for the cover.
I
Wait, wait,
see.
wait. Hold on. No, it is that image that will be your personal image in the tour guide, in the printed and digital version of the tour
Right.
guide, the one put into the Google form. And then when you're a registered artist, we're going to look at the images you've submitted for the tour guide and the images on your profile on the Marin Open Studios website. And we might even go to your personal website if you have one and look there too. We're basically looking at all the work we can see of the registered artists to find, the ideal image for the cover based on lots of considerations and lots of input from lots of people, and for the other 12 or so images for the digital marketing that we do in all kinds of outlets around Marin Open Studios to get energy generated. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Keith. Chris Odessa asked, the catalog image will not appear on the website unless we add it separately. That is correct. If the image that you submit for the tour guide, you would like it to be on Marin Open Studios gallery, you do have to upload that to the gallery. Thank you, everybody. for your time this evening. I'm very excited for the year ahead. We have a lot of, opportunities for you to show work between now and May coming up, including the UCSF show, right, Kina? We've got
Yes.
another one of those coming up.
Early February, there'll be a call for art for the next UCSF Serenity exhibit for those solo and two-person shows in the lobby spaces at UCSF.
Yeah, beautifully naturally lit and exciting opportunity to show your work in the city. And then we will be hosting other workshops and we'll keep you guys informed on the dates and times of those, but those will be a little bit more around marketing, video, social media, calendaring, everything so that you can help to market yourself between now and May.
I have a question.
Sure.
Kina and whoever knows, waiting to hear about the town center so I can complete the jot form and upload my image. And I guess we have to have the address and the site. So I'm wondering it's happening there.
Yeah, let you know that the good news is Town Center will be available as a shared
Oh,
exhibit space for artists. Please let
wonderful.
Melissa know right away if you're interested in being an artist there.
Yes,
I don't know yet. They've committed to giving us a space equal in size to the one we had last year and possibly larger. And
great.
I've even asked for two. So, we'll so we
Okay,
have one and so just let
okay,
Melissa know if you're interested and I'm hoping soon
okay,
to know if we have more than one or more space than last year so that we can
okay.
include more artists there.
Yep.
And
Will that
We'll keep
prevent,
you posted. So keep
will
your
that
eyes on your
prevent
emails.
me, will that prevent me from completing that jot form?
No,
I can
thank you. Thank
still,
you. That was the other thing I was going to say. I was wondering, I had another thing to say. You
uh,
don't need to put the number of
okay,
of the store.
okay,
Last year it was 419. You can just put when you fill out your location in the Google form with your image for the tour guide, which is your tour guide information, you can just put Town Center Corte Madera.
great.
Lisa we will know the number before we have to
Yeah,
print
they'll
the.
populate that for you.
Okay, great. Thank you so
All right,
much.
all right, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your Monday evening. Keep an eye on your email inboxes for the recording from this session and stay tuned for updates on upcoming workshops. And thanks so much for being in Marin Open Studios artists and have a great night.
Yeah, thank you guys and
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thank you,
Thank
Karan.
you.
Great job. Thanks.
Cheers.